Hello, and welcome to Ice is Slippery, an unserious podcast about hockey brought to you by 1.5 hockey fans. My name is Kate, and I'm the hockey fan.
And my name is Fred. I am half a hockey fan.
Hello, Fred. How are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing great today, honestly.
I bet you are.
Yeah, we can get into the specifics later, but let's just say I woke up in a good mood.
You did.
I did. I have been having really vivid dreams lately, so I did get up and check my phone to make sure I hadn't had like a very highly detailed dream.
Yeah.
And I did not.
No.
I was not hallucinating. So.
Yeah. Reality happened.
Yeah. It was otherwise a good week. We had our wedding anniversary this week.
Yep. Sure.
We celebrated the same way we always do, which is by not knowing it was our anniversary until your mom texted us to remind us.
Absolutely.
So
we're at like 20. Oh, no, that's the wedding anniversary.
No, yeah, our wedding anniversary. I also looked that up because I couldn't remember when we got married, but it was 2009, so 16 years married.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Been a long ass time.
Yep.
Get used to it.
Oh, I'm used to it. Yeah.
For better or for worse, and for worse means hockey.
Yeah. No, it was a good week. It was hockeyful.
Hockeyful, yes.
Playoff-ful.
Playofful. Play awful.
And yeah, we made it through. Yeah. Oof.
We did. Yeah, we made it through round one almost.
Almost. Yep.
So shall we just get right into it again, just like last week?
I think so. I've got a Red Bull ready to go because I'm a little bit sleepy from how late we stayed up, but
we did stay up quite late.
Yep.
All right. Well, let's start with the East once again. So the Hurricanes versus Devils series. The last time we checked in on that, the Canes were up in the series 3-1. Game 5 of that series took place on Tuesday in Carolina, and it was a potential elimination game for the Devils. And they came in ready to fight, and they actually took an early lead going up 3-0 in the first. But the Canes found their game in the second period and scored 3 goals of their own. Eventually, it would go to OT, and Sebastian Aho would score the game-winning goal to send the Canes to the next round.
Yeah. So they got it in 4.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
I know we watched this, but it seems like months ago at this point.
Yeah, it was a long game too. I think it might have even been 2 OTs.
Yeah.
So it was, yeah.
Stankoven may have had a goal.
Not in that one, I don't think.
He didn't have a goal.
He might have had an assist, though. I'm pretty sure he had an assist. Yeah. I'd have to check.
No, it was a good game.
Yeah, they really battled back and forth. I think the Devils should really be proud of themselves. They've been missing a lot of people even going into the playoffs, and then they've been dropping like flies since the playoffs.
Right.
I think it was really heartbreaking for their goalie, Jacob Markstrom.
Oh, God, that's right. He was like unstoppable. How many shots?
He had... There were 54 shots on goal for him.
Jesus.
He faced 54 shots on goal, let in 4, I think.
Yeah.
And, you know, New Jersey had 35 going the other direction.
Right.
So he was just playing out of his mind, you know, because especially the latter half of the game, they were just hammering them.
Right. All those, like, it just kept coming in like the third period or second period. Like
it was, I think, the last half of the second period, all of the third period, and then first OT, he was just getting pelted. Yeah. And they couldn't keep it away from him. And he just did the best he could, but eventually it wasn't enough. He broke his stick on a goalpost, and then he looked briefly like he was going to swing what was left of the stick at one of his teammates.
Yeah.
But then he was like, oh yeah, I took one of my teammates out like a few games ago, so maybe I shouldn't do that.
Yeah.
So, but ultimately, I'm actually really happy to see the Canes advance to the next round.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, or as I like to call them, the Carolina Stankovens.
The Carolina Stankovens. Yeah, I don't think we have much of an investment in Jersey.
Yeah.
Other than media interviews from
Jacques Hughes. being very full of himself.
Yeah.
But like in a way that we find very entertaining and charming.
Absolutely. He's a delight. But
he is a delight.
But the rest of the team, yeah, I don't like the coach that much. And I don't like, is Timo Meyer on the team? He is. I can't stand him.
Yeah. He's not super likable.
I don't know much about him. I just know I don't like him.
Yeah. They do have, you know, some great promising young players, but, you know, it's just, they're not quite there yet. And that's okay.
Yeah, totally. And I think throughout the season when I've seen them play, I'm like, damn, if they put this together, that probably would look good and be good. So...
The Carolina Hurricanes also had a big advantage. They had the power of friendship. Seth Jarvis's friends drove to see him again.
Yeah, those guys are legendary.
So they came for Four Nations. They were going to fly out to see him, and their flights got canceled. So they drove 30 hours to see him at Four Nations.
Yeah.
And then they decided, hey, since that went really well, let's drive to see him. So they rented a minivan and they drove, I think it was 25 hours this time to see him. And it went really well.
It did. Yeah, those guys are awesome.
Yeah, they're just his childhood buddies. And there's a cute little video of him on the ice, like seeing them in the crowd and then pointing them out to his teammate.
Yeah, yeah.
It's really adorable.
Yep.
So I like that. Just bros being bros, supporting bros.
Just bros.
Just broing out. All right. So that's one series done with.
All right. Carolina moves on.
Carolina moves on. Now we can go on to Maple Leafs versus Senators.
Yep.
So as you know, Toronto started off strong in this series, winning the first 3 games.
Yep.
But the Senators had won Game 4 last we checked in, which made Leafs fans a little bit anxious. And then that anxiety kicked into high gear on Tuesday during Game 5 because the Sens came to Toronto and shut out the home team 4-0. And everyone wondered if we were looking at yet another first-round collapse for the Leafs.
Yeah, that game was rough.
It was. I think you were pretty firmly in the pro-Sens camp at this point.
Mean, I'm not invested in either of those teams, but yeah, I think the Maple Leafs doing the Maple Leaf thing is kind of funny, you know.
Doing the Maple Leaf sounds like a 50s dance or something.
The Maple Leaf rag.
That too. Game 6 took place in Ottawa on Thursday, and that gave Toronto their 3rd chance to clinch the series.
Mm-hmm.
So it almost started out with a disaster because when the Leafs submitted their lineup, William Nylander was listed as a healthy scratch, and his brother Alex Nylander was listed as a starter.
Yeah.
Now, the officials are allowed to flag things if they see something off with the lineup. And they're like, hey, Leaf guys, did you mean to do this? And the Leaf guys were like, OMG, we totally didn't. Sorry about that. So they fixed it. But if that hadn't been caught until after the game had started, they can't fix it then.
Right.
So they almost didn't have William Nylander in Game 6.
That would have been just absolutely amazing.
And it was his birthday.
And it was his birthday. But it are my birthday.
But it are my birthday. So that would have just been the leafiest shit,
right?
Like you could imagine.
Yeah.
Like that's, oh man, that's just next level.
Yeah, that would have been
crazy.
The fact it's even like on the table as a possibility that could have happened just is mind blowing.
I just keep imagining them like cutting to the press box where William Nylander's there, but because he's William Nylander, he's not wearing a shirt.
Yeah, he's not.
He's just tarps off in the press box, just
gold chains,
and chest hair and eating popcorn. Actually, that might have been really fun. So,
it might have been.
But alas, we got William Nylander on the ice, which was exciting in its own way.
Yeah.
So it was, a good thing they put him in the game. Austin Matthews opened the scoring at the end of the first period on a goal that was assisted by William Nylander.
Yep.
And Mitch Marner. And then William Nylander scored another goal 43 seconds into the second period. So the Sens scored 2 goals and tied it up. And then with about 5 minutes left in the third, Max Pacioretty gave Toronto the lead again. The Sens pushed hard and had a great chance to tie it up. But Scotty Lottie brought that Philly mentality.
Yep.
And blocked a shot with his body, and it looked so fucking painful.
Yeah.
But the puck bounced off of him, and Nylander was able to pick it up and hustle down the ice to get an empty net goal. This was all in the last 20 seconds of the game, and the Leafs win the game and are on to the second round.
Yeah. No.
For only the second time in like the last million years.
Yeah, that was awesome. With we saw the the locker room thing, and Lawton got to put the puck in.
Yeah, usually, they pick somebody kind of who's a key player in the game to put the puck in the little like advent puck calendar, the puck vent calendar.
Puck vent calendar.
And yeah, Austin Matthews, it was like the most energy we've ever seen from him.
He was just using his words and had like a personality and energy. It was incredible.
It was the other end of the spectrum from, hey, it's me, it's Austin.
Yeah. It was not that guy.
It was not that guy.
But
so yeah, he was like, great job, Willie, great job, somebody else. Patch, yeah.
Huge goal, Patch.
Huge goal, Patch.
Huge goal, Willie, but this man put his body on the line.
Yeah, which is true. Like, they haven't really had that in Toronto super very much.
Yeah.
So
no. I feel like Torts is in some way responsible for the Maple Leafs moving on.
I do feel like that, honestly.
I mean, that's where that man learned to block shots. That's what they do. They get in front of pucks. He's like, I can do that.
They've been proxy torched.
Yeah.
So one of the complaints about the Maple Leafs is that their so-called core four players are invisible in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
And I happen to think that's a little dramatic in general, but I get it, but people just look at sort of the point totals and they don't look at things in context.
Well, yeah. And it's such a small sample size. Like across 4 games, it's like, oh, you haven't scored 7 goals. And it's like, yeah, probably not.
Right. Exactly. So I looked up sort of where we're at after the first round here. And, I don't think you can deny that the core four are showing up right now. So they're leading the team in points.
Yep.
William Nylander has 9 points, 3 goals and 6 assists. Mitch Marner has 8 points, 1 goal, but 7 assists. Matthews has 7 points, 2 goals and 5 assists. And John Tavares only has 5 points, but they're 3 goals and 2 assists.
Right.
Those are the top 4 point getters on the team right now, is those core four.
That seems like maybe they're showing up.
Yes. And then also, if you look at the rest of the team, there are only 2 guys on the team who don't have points right now.
Mm-hmm.
Every single other player has at least 1 point. Some have 2, some have 3.
Yeah.
So the depth people are also showing up at the same time that the top 4 are doing top 4 stuff. So
Case closed.
Case closed. They've solved the mystery of why the Maple Leafs made it out of the first round. Now, if they can do that again, then maybe they'll make it out of the second, but we're going to talk about that later.
Yeah, yeah.
So I think that, Craig Berube has been very good for them, maybe.
I think maybe.
Yeah, I feel like he's maybe cleaned up some of their tendencies.
Yeah, he seems a lot better than old Sheldon.
Yeah.
And I've already said I don't like Sheldon.
Exactly. So, yeah. So, I don't know. I think Berube has been good. He hasn't been as sort of old school as I thought he might be.
Right.
He's handling them delicately enough. They're very fragile princesses over there, I believe.
But he does seem to bring a strength.
There's an accountability, a maturity happening.
Yep.
He's like, no, you know what? I know everyone tells you that you're little pretty princesses, but you're big boys and you can do this. And they're like, you know what? Mitch Marner's like, you know what? I am a big boy. I'm going to have a baby soon. I have to be the big boy.
Right.
So
it's time for him to grow up.
It's time for him to be the big boy.
Put the Xbox controller down.
And pick up the hockey stick. That's what he's getting paid for. Also, it's a contract here. All right. So on to Capitals versus Canadiens.
Capitals versus Canadiens. Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yes. So the last time we checked in on this matchup, Washington was up 2-1 in what is a surprisingly contentious series.
Yeah, right.
Arbor Xhekaj was still in the lineup. He was put in game 3. And then in game 4, apparently he and Dylan McElrath were getting into it during warmups. So the hostility was still present. And they ended up getting individual fines. And the teams ended up getting fined for them having shenanigans during warmups.
Right. It was what, $25,000 for the team and the bare minimum for the player?
I think it was $20,000 for each team. And then maybe $3,800 or $3,400 for the players.
Man. Well, they're just lucky the NFL's not in charge of their fines.
I think it was shit talking though.
Right.
They were right by the line, shit talking. I don't even think it got physical, but
yeah.
The league is no, guys, come on. It's just the first round. You have to keep it together.
Yeah, yeah.
So we went into game 4 and the Capitals did win that one 5-2. But the 2 goals from the Habs that game were really nice. Slavkovsky did some really fancy footwork to get the puck into the zone. And then there's some really creative passing and skating from Hudson and Demidov. And then they got the puck back to Slavkovsky and he put it in the back of the net. And then Hudson and Demidov had another masterful passing sequence and they got it to Cole Caulfield, who scored on a one-timer. Mm-hmm. So even though they lost that game, their 2 goals were just pretty, really nice to look at.
Yeah.
So Wednesday was game 5 and it was do or die for the Habs. And unfortunately, the Caps just proved to be too much for them. And that game, the Caps won 4-1 and that knocked the Habs out of the series. Mm-hmm. I will say that the Capitals coach, Spencer Carberry, had nothing but good things to say about the Habs, which was actually really nice.
Yeah, he seems like an okay dude.
Yeah.
Except for his shoe choices. Man's got some pointy shoes.
To be fair, you haven't bought your own clothes in 20 years.
Well,
so.
Yeah, but pointy shoes, I don't know.
They're a little witchy. Not that that's a bad thing. No, he said that the Habs pushed the Caps every game and that they're so young. He said, I don't really want to think about what it's going to be like playing them for so many years.
They're on their way.
They really are.
I was obviously rooting hard for them.
Yeah, no, same.
I ended up really disliking the Capitals during I didn't like them to begin with, honestly.
Yeah.
I do enjoy them as people when they're interacting with each other, but not on the ice.
I think we were talking about it during one of the games, and the stuff that makes them kind of fun off ice makes them a nightmare on ice because
yeah,
they're super codependent off the ice, and it's kind of cute how they're all super they're not group bonded or pair bonded, they're group bonded,
right?
But the problem is that when anything bad happens to anybody on ice, the rest of them turn into gremlins.
Yeah.
And it's too much and it's exhausting.
Yeah. No, they're like terrorists in the sandbox or something.
Yeah. They just need to turn it down. Okay, we get it. You love each other, but you can't fight everybody all of the time because they looked at your girlfriend.
Right.
It's not okay.
Yep.
Tom Wilson did say after the series ended that he had gained a lot of respect for players on the Habs and that they have a really bright future. And he said that they competed really hard and they've got a bunch of warriors, which is practically a love letter as far as Tom Wilson is concerned.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And people did notice in the handshake line that he and Josh Anderson, who were the two who were brawling in the benches, did a hug and smile and shake and kind of chatting and hugging and broing out in the handshake line.
Yeah.
Hockey is wild.
That's what don't fall for his shenanigans of making himself look good. He's a liar.
Yeah, no, he
keeps doing that to you. He's like a girlfriend that you know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I know what you're trying to say. Yeah, no, he's trying to suck me back in.
He is, yeah.
And I can't fall for it this time. I keep thinking he's better, and then he's not. He just lets me down again.
He's gonna do it again.
He is.
Yep.
So if there was a series that was more acrimonious than the Caps versus the Habs, it was the Lightning versus the Panthers.
Yeah.
So Brandon Hagel had already earned a 1-game suspension for a blindside hit on Barkov away from the puck. And then Matthew Tkachuk had a late hit on Jake Gensel that earned him a 5-minute major and no suspension, which people were mad about, but they really weren't the same thing. So
I think it's pretty clear that everybody who's smart was like, these are not the same hits.
Yes, exactly. So coming into Game 4, the Panthers were up 2-1, and they have a reputation for playing dirty, and they did not do themselves any favors in this game.
There was some dirt.
Dirt was shoveled. In the second period, Aaron Ekblad basically gave Brandon Hagel a forearm shiver to the head, and he went down, bounced his head off the ice, and was out of the game, and out of the series, basically. Mm-hmm. So it should be noted that this was only Ekblad's second game back after testing positive for performance-enhancing drugs. So
he just had a poppy seed bagel.
All right, Elaine. I do believe that, Hagel's hit on Barkov in, I think it was Game 1. It was a bad hit, but I don't think it was maliciously intended.
Okay.
Barkov was away from the puck, but it did look like he was trying to play the puck. I think Hagel was just dialed in.
Okay.
He was careless, but I don't think he was trying to hit him away from the puck.
Okay.
I do think this hit from Ekblad was terrible.
Oh, that was totally intentional.
Yeah, no, it's completely intentional.
That was 1,000% intentional.
All of the malicious intent.
All of it.
Yeah. So I am fine with Hagel getting suspended because it was reckless enough that it was a bad hit.
Yeah.
But it never felt malicious or intentional to me. This was all malicious, all intent.
Yeah.
And it sucked. And then to add insult to injury, the refs didn't call anything.
No, there was no call on that.
No call on that.
No. And that's what Cooper was saying. It's you guys are all standing right there, right?
Yeah.
He was losing his mind.
I think he was counting them. He's there's 4 of you. How did nobody call that?
Right.
He was very upset, and rightfully so. And then 19 seconds into the third period, Nico Mikkola of the Panthers boarded a Lightning player, and this one was also egregious. The refs did actually pay attention to this one, and he was ejected from the game, rightfully so.
Yep.
I think the only reason he wasn't suspended is because after the game, the Department of Player Safety reviewed pretty much everything, and they looked at that Ekblad hit, which hadn't gotten punished, and they suspended him for 2 games.
2-game suspension, no call on the ice.
Exactly. So I think they were well, he didn't get any penalty in the game, so he's got to get 2 games. So, and if they had punished him in the game, maybe the other stuff doesn't happen. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I think they probably didn't want to, suspend 2 players. So they're like, okay, we'll suspend this guy for 2 games. We won't suspend the other guy. They did give Nico Mikkola a $5,000 fine on top of him having to leave the game.
Yeah. Well, I think that's been a big story, is just the inconsistency. And when it's inconsistent, the players don't know where the line is. And then
sometimes they take it too far.
They go too far and they go, wait, what? That was bad?
Yeah. It's like,
but that last thing wasn't bad?
But I thought we were allowed to murder people.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
So the Panthers won that game 4-2. And I actually really enjoyed the Panthers, but it was hard to feel good about that victory.
Yeah. When they're doing people dirty, it's not great, because they can win without doing that.
When they're doing hood rat stuff with their hood rat friends, it's not.
No, it's not good.
Not cool.
Even when it's against Tampa.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like
do that against Washington.
No. I mean, officially no, but also if anybody can handle it, it's Washington. They'll give it back to you ×2.
Yeah.
So game 5 is on Wednesday, and it was do or die for the Lightning. And the way the Panthers played the previous game, death seemed like an actual option.
Right.
It was a very back and forth game at first, and they were both kind of trading goals. And then the Lightning scored almost exactly halfway through the second period, and everyone was up 3-3. But then 5 minutes later, Sam Bennett absolutely sniped one past Vasilevsky. And that was pretty much it for the Panthers. They kept trying, but the final score of the game was 6-3 in favor of the Panthers, and they knocked the Lightning out.
Yep.
So, yeah, that's pretty much it.
Interesting series. Glad the Panthers are moving on, but
like less like bye now on the Panthers.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
we're like, guys, come on.
It wasn't the greatest look for the team, but who knows? It doesn't really matter.
Yeah,
it's all in the past now.
Well, and like as people keep saying, with playoffs, it's a little different. You're playing, multiple big games against the same team, so it's like you develop bad feelings for these guys.
Right.
It kind of carries from game to game, and other things happen, which we'll talk about later too. But it's like when you're playing the same game, the same team repeatedly, the investment is a little different. Mm-hmm. So, I thought we would do a quick summary of the East. I thought we would sort of round up by saying goodbye to our 4 teams that left.
Okay.
Mostly the thing I always find interesting at the end of the season is the injury report, where we find out
who was actually
what kind of injuries people were playing through at the end there.
Yeah.
So starting with the Habs, a lot of players were dealing with some non-specific injuries. Carrier and Suzuki just kind of had, nothing was specific.
Just general malaise.
Yeah, just general malaise. Patrick Laine had a broken finger, which, not the worst, but can really mess with your precision.
I would think so.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Brendan Gallagher had a broken rib, which...
I
haven't broken one, but I have one that dislocates and it hurts like a motherfucker.
Yeah, no, it's like broken rib. I have trouble like taking a deep breath when I think about a broken rib.
Yeah, just when you think about it.
Exactly.
And then Sam Montembeault experienced a double groin tear in game 3. And it was actually earlier in the period, because remember, he left and everyone's like, why did he leave? Nothing happened. Mm-hmm. It was actually on an earlier save. He kept playing for another 7 minutes before he was like trying to kind of gut through it. And then he was like, oh yeah, no, this is bad. I can't keep doing this. But he kept going for a TV timeout because he didn't want to just throw Dobesh in.
Right.
So.
Wild.
Yeah.
So he's got 2 groins?
There are 3 muscles in the groin.
Oh, okay.
And he has torn 2 of them. So, no, he did not tear his second groin.
Okay.
With the Devils, the question was more like who wasn't injured at the end of the season.
Yeah.
Going into the playoffs, the team was down several players, including Jack Hughes. During the playoffs, they lost Brendan Dillon to a neck injury, Kovacevic to a knee injury that will likely require surgery, and Luke Hughes to something. They didn't really say what. There aren't
general malaise.
General malaise once again. Brett Pesce sustained a shoulder injury in game 1, but was playing through it. Jonas Siegenthaler had missed time during the season with a lower body injury in the regular season, and then rejoined the playoffs, even though he's still not technically better, like the bone is healed, but he still is in rehab, like getting his conditioning back up. Mm-hmm. So he was still, playing while not like at 100%. So yeah, not great.
Yeah.
Heading over to the Senators, Brady Tkachuk is actually still dealing with that hip injury he sustained against Sweden during the Four Nations tournament. So remember in the Four Nations tournament, U.S. versus Sweden, he kind of crashed the net.
Yes.
And his leg bent back at a really weird angle.
Yeah.
Yeah, apparently he injured his hip during that, and that's what he's been dealing with, and he's been dealing with it all season ever since then, and it's still injured.
Yikes.
So, yeah, and he did not take extended time off because they needed help getting into the playoffs, so it wasn't like his brother who could be like, yo, I got a real good team here, I can just like...
I can rest.
Take my time.
Yep.
So... Other than that, Nick Jensen had some non-specific health issues, so they were relatively unscathed, all things considered, which is pretty nice. The Lightning, on the other hand, have been through the ringer. Kucherov had a left hand injury. Anthony Cirelli had a grade 2 MCL sprain, which is not fun. Victor Hedman broke his foot early in Game 4. He still played in Game 5 and had 2 assists.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. He was wearing a boot at the press conferences.
Jeez.
Yep. Brandon Hagel from that Ekblad hit did get a concussion, so he's pretty pissed about that.
Yep.
Luke Glendening had an AC joint separation, which can be very painful. And then finally, Oliver Bjorkstrand suffered a lower body injury that turned into acute compartment syndrome, and he was rushed to the ER at 2 a.m. to treat it. And I know you're a little squeamish, so I'm not going to explain that to you.
Acute compartment syndrome?
Yeah, it's, yeah.
I don't know what that is.
Yeah, and like I said, you're squeamish, so I'm not going to explain it to you.
All right.
Yeah, it's not good.
Yeah.
It's not great.
No.
It's pretty dangerous.
It sounds...
And the treatment's pretty painful.
It sounds terrifying.
It's not good.
Compartment syndrome. Anyway, yeah.
Don't look it up, and don't look up fasciotomy either.
Don't worry, I can't spell it.
So that means we have our round 2 matchups for the East set. We've got Panthers versus Maple Leafs, and we have Capitals versus Hurricanes.
Yeah.
So
those are good games, huh?
I think so.
Yeah.
So I thought maybe we'd kind of make our predictions about what round 2 might look like.
Okay.
So we'll start with Panthers versus Maple Leafs.
I don't know how to like predict things. Like on that one, I feel like I want the Maple Leafs to win.
I do. I kind of want them to win. I am very worried about them.
Yeah. I don't know if that's going to happen.
I know they're trying real hard to be big boys right now, but the Panthers will eat them alive. I'm worried about that.
Yeah. Who gets home ice?
Panthers, I believe.
Yeah.
Maybe. I would have to check. I actually have no idea.
Okay. Well, I don't know. Yeah.
I don't know about that.
Yeah, we'll see. I don't know. I mean, who knows?
It could actually be the Leafs. They did well-ish, and the Panthers kind of slid at the end. I have zero idea. I'd have to look.
It's all good.
Anyway, I would love it to be Leafs. I'm thinking it will probably ultimately be Panthers, but I feel like it could go to 7. I feel like the Leafs could make it a lot closer than anybody think.
Yeah.
But I'd really love the Leafs to pull off an upset and make it through round 2 this time around.
You say this as a Panthers fan.
I do.
Yeah.
Yeah. I you know me, I like a scrappy underdog story, and apparently the Leafs are scrappy underdogs.
You do like the Leafs secretly.
I don't not like the Leafs. I just don't like follow them, but like I feel sad for them. Is that a thing?
I believe that's probably a thing.
They're like the kitten that keeps getting returned to the shelter.
Yeah.
I'm like, come on, guys, somebody adopt this kitten. I know it's weird looking, but like it seems real nice.
They've been to every foster parent in
the tri-state area.
They're not. They won't be. Yeah.
It's like, come on, guys. I know it's ugly, but like, but it still has a soul.
Yeah.
So. And then Capitals versus Hurricanes.
I just hope the Capitals lose at this point. And I do also hope the Hurricanes win. So
I hope the Hurricanes win, and I think they can do it. I think it's going to also go to a Game 7, but I feel like the Hurricanes pull it out.
I love it.
So that's where I'm at with it.
Yep.
So moving on to the West, we've got Vegas versus the Wild. The last time we checked in, the series was tied 2-2, and I didn't have much to say about it because I hadn't really watched it. And not much has changed. Sorry, not sorry. These teams are not on my priority list.
Right.
I do know that Game 5 is a pretty tight, low-scoring affair. And I know that Philip Gustafsson, the goalie, had to leave the game in the third period due to illness. And Marc-Andre Fleury had to come in.
Yep.
So they kept it at a tie till the end of the third period and went into OT. And it would have been so good for Marc-Andre Fleury to win the game. But sadly, the Vegas pulled it out and they won an OT.
Yeah.
That was a bummer.
Yep.
Something that was fun, though, is that Fleury was mic'd up on the bench that night. So when he got put in the game, he was still mic'd up, which you don't hear a lot of like goalies mic'd up.
Oh, yeah. Probably not.
So it was really great to hear. He shrieks a lot.
Does he?
He says woo a lot. Like he sounds like a drunk college girl most of the time. At one point, he praises himself for a nice kick save. He face washed somebody, I think it was Eichel, and then was like, sorry, like while he was still actively doing it.
That's awesome.
So he was definitely not sorry. At one point, there's like a scrum breaks out and he tries to get in and he says, I need a little action. But the refs like, push him out because they won't let him live his truth.
Yep.
But yeah, mostly just shrieking and saying woo a lot.
I feel like a lot of the mic'd ups are just people being like, huh, ooh, yeah, woo, hey.
His are all woos.
Yeah, let's go.
There's no like grunts or anything. It's just woo, woo, woo. Like just so many woos. It's great.
Every time we flip on one of those mic'd ups, it's like, God, that was a waste of my time.
I know. And yet we keep watching them. Maybe one day they'll say something interesting. So Game 5 was on Thursday, and I did not watch that one either, but I did check out the highlights, and it was basically just all the worst people you know scoring goals on both sides.
Yeah.
So Ryan Hartman had 2 for Minnesota.
Yep.
Jack Eichel had 1 for Vegas, and then Mark Stone had the game winner for Vegas.
Yeah.
So Vegas won that game 3-2 and took the series 4-2. And not only did this end the Wild's playoff run, but it capped off Marc-Andre Fleury's career.
Yeah.
So it was in Minnesota, which was nice. He got to go out on home ice. Mm-hmm. And Fleury played in Vegas and is still really loved there.
He's loved everywhere.
He is.
Nobody hates Fleury.
No. And if anybody does, like we can all become united in our hate for them.
Oh, yeah. No,
there's something wrong with them.
That's not even a hot take. That's just not a take.
Yeah, no, he's great. So the crowd was chanting his name as he was going through the handshake line. He got really long goodbyes from a lot of the players and the coaches and even the refs. The Vegas players stayed on the ice with the Wild's players, and he exited first, and all the players were giving him stick taps. Mm-hmm. And it's really emotional.
Yeah.
I kept waiting for him to come out and be like, it's just a prank. I'll be back next year. But I think he's serious, you guys.
Yeah, he might be.
Gus, the goalie, the Minnesota Wild goalie, looked really sad and dejected. Like you couldn't see his face because he still had his helmet on, but like his posture was very defeated. So it really is the end of an era, and it's wild. Like,
lol.
Oh, pun not intended. But yeah, no, I'm gonna miss that guy.
Yeah.
I hope we maybe get him as some sort of like commentator or something.
Commentator, yeah.
He would be unhinged.
Yeah, he would be fun, like an on the ice kind of person. Or
yeah.
I don't know if in studio is the right space for him.
Yeah, maybe like
player interviews.
Right. Yeah, maybe he can come do player interviews for their social media or something, the Wild social media.
Right.
He has said he plans to stay in Minnesota while his kids are in school. So
cool.
Yeah, I don't know. I loved him. I will miss him.
Yeah.
He's fantastic. So
well, you certainly knew more about these Vegas games than last week.
Well, I had fewer games to pay attention to.
Sure.
It felt like this time around. So
yep.
The schedule was a little more spread out, but I still just watched highlights and read a little bit.
All right. Yep. Vegas moves on. Kind of thought that was probably going to happen.
I think we all knew it, but we all hoped for a miracle. It was the closest I've ever come to rooting for Minnesota, really.
Right.
All right. Kings versus Oilers.
Yeah.
The last time we had checked in, they had played 3 games. Mm-hmm. Kings had won the first 2 games. Scored a lot of goals.
Yeah.
Looking pretty good.
Power of harmonicas.
Power of harmonicas compels us. Game 3 happened. The Los Angeles coach made the worst goalie interference challenge anybody has ever seen in the history of the universe.
Yep.
And I think that was the beginning of the end.
That was from there on out. No hope. Yeah,
because Edmonton won that game, and then they would go on to win the next 3 games.
Yeah.
And that was it. The Kings were done for. So, and the coach refused to make any adjustments to his strategy. It was just like, I'm just going to keep playing my top line a whole lot. My top line's a whole lot, and not really playing my bottom lines very much. And we're just going to keep on doing it. And eventually it's going to work its way out.
That's right from the Pete DeBoer strategy book there.
Yes. And yeah, it was... Oh man, it was such a terrible collapse to watch. I really thought the Kings had what it took this year.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's on the players at all. I do think the players have what it takes. I think this was a failure of leadership.
Yeah, that checks out.
Literally just from the moment that call happened, I was like, oh boy.
Oh boy.
This is real bad.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not surprised that was the turning point. It really, really feels like it was.
Yeah. I don't think I saw any of these games. Those games way too late for me.
Those are very late night games, so yeah. I am not surprised you didn't see them either.
Rest in peace, East Coast fans.
Right. Yeah.
Holy smokes.
I know. We're in the mountain. So even then, that's hard for us.
It's still late for us.
We're elders.
Yeah.
So I'm going to surprise everyone. I'm going to move on and talk about the Jets and the Blues next.
Okay.
Now, that's surprising because that series is still up in the air.
Oh, they play today, don't they?
Yes.
Oh, boy, more hockey today. Yay.
This is the only matchup that remains unresolved out of round one. Usually I would save that for last, but I want to talk about Stars last.
Yeah, we should definitely talk about Stars. I also did want to say with that Edmonton game on the Jumbotron, they threw up Will Ferrell with like fake Oilers gear over him, hyping up the crowd. It was so funny. Yeah,
it's just like kind of an ad he does for the Kings, like a promotion spot he did, and then they just put fake like Oilers and overdubbed chains. It like very badly. And people were like, I can't believe he did that. And it's like, oh, the educational system is dead.
Yeah,
it's really bad.
But my God, what whoever came up with that, and then whoever's like, yeah, let's throw that up on the Jumbotron, like absolute legends.
Ice cold. So cold. All right, the Jets versus the Blues. We had talked about games 1 through 4, and so when we checked in, the series was tied at 2-2. Winnipeg had just gone through 2 consecutive landside losses, with Connor Hellebuyck getting pulled both times.
Yeah.
So 2 times back to back. Game 5 was in Winnipeg, and Hellebuyck managed to keep it together, and the Jets got a 5-3 win. So you're like, okay, maybe there's light at the end of the tunnel. But then on Friday, back in St. Louis, everything went downhill again.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah, we were watching this one.
Oh, it was hard to watch.
It really was. It didn't look that bad at first. Hellebuyck did let 1 goal in the first, but then he locked it down again. Brian Boucher was commentating on that one, and he's always great commentator from like a goalie perspective.
Yeah.
And he was like, okay, that was good. You know, this could have been bad if he would have given up more goals, but he looks like he dialed back in. Getting out of the first just down 1 goal is really good the way he's been playing lately. But then, like 5 minutes into the second period, the Jets tied it up. So it was like, okay, maybe we can do this. And then in a 2-minute time period, the Jets scored 3 times.
Yeah.
And then suddenly the score was 4-1.
Yeah.
So that sucked.
Man just crumbled. You could see it in his face too.
And his posture and just everything.
Like it was clear that he needed to be pulled, but like Boucher was saying, like the coach wasn't going to give the fans that satisfaction probably, or like the ego hit of being pulled in the middle of the period when you're doing terrible.
Exactly.
Or something. But I probably would have pulled him.
No, I think there were still 6 minutes left in the period when that 4th goal went up against them.
Yeah.
And it really felt like he really should have been pulled at that point. But they let it ride till the end of the period, and 1 more goal was scored around the 3-minute mark. And so it was 5-1 at the end of the second period.
It was just, epic.
It was the least surprising thing ever when the 3rd period happened and Eric Comrie was in the goal for the Jets. And not only was Connor Hellebuyck not in the net, he was not anywhere to be seen.
Yeah. He didn't come back out.
No, he was not on the bench. Like he was.
And Boucher was like, yeah, that makes sense.
He's like, I wouldn't do that.
I wouldn't come back out either.
It was brutal.
There was certainly a lot of goalie chants going on too.
So many goalie chants, just like, chanting Connor's name. And then of course, after he's pulled, the "We Want Connor" chants, which are worse. So it's hard because he's a really scary rival, but like, it's hard to watch somebody who's so good just completely collapse like that. Yeah.
His save percentage was ridiculously low. Like not like NHL level save percentage.
It's really scary. I feel very sad for him, honestly.
No, seriously, because I think he's really neat. I think he's a really cool, interesting guy. And I think he's a fantastic goalie. But there's something about those playoffs and him. And I don't know. I think Comrie should have been in there more, probably.
I think so too.
And we'll see, I guess, today what happens.
Well, Comrie did manage to keep any more goals from going in.
Yeah.
So, and the Jets did score 1 more goal, but that was all they could do. So they lost that game 5-2, and that tied up the series at 3-3. So tonight at 5 o'clock our time, they will be playing, and that is going to determine the very last matchup.
You know what my favorite fact about Comrie is?
What?
He doesn't drink caffeine.
He only drinks water.
He only drinks water.
He only drinks water.
Man seems like he's down in Monsters and Red Bulls and coffee all the time. Nope, that's just his personality.
He said people can't believe it, and they keep asking him multiple times. Then he's like, are you saying you want me to drink caffeine? And then they like immediately back off.
They're like, oh no, you're like that without caffeine.
They're like, oh God, no. Like, we definitely don't want you to do that.
Yeah, I think there's an edict from his wife. It's like, no, you don't touch that stuff.
Yeah, no,
Anyway.
He has so much energy. If he could like bottle that and sell
yeah.
it, I would buy it by the boatload.
Yeah.
Like,
he's
I'm
like
so
a human
tired.
He's like a human pogo stick or something.
He really is. He seems like a lot, but like a lovely guy, but
he's pretty funny too.
He is. Yeah.
But he is a lot for sure.
He's a character. Like he's such a goalie, but like in a very different way than all of the other goalies.
Yeah.
He's the opposite goalie.
Yeah. Bizarro world.
Bizarro goalie.
Upside down world. Or I don't know.
All right. So now we can do it. We can talk about the Stars versus the Avs.
Wow.
This has been a long series.
It has been a long series for sure.
Yeah, when we last talked about them, the series was tied at 2 apiece, and things were not good. We had just been shut out in Game 4. Mm-hmm. By we, I mean the Stars, because I am part of the Stars. They are part of me. We are one. In Game 5, though, we actually really like showed up to play. We looked really good.
It was okay. Yeah.
We scored 9 seconds in.
Yep.
Wyatt Johnston won the faceoff and got the puck in and was like the only person who knew where it was and scored a goal that I still don't fully understand how it got in the goal.
Right.
Like, it was just bizarre, but it was crazy and it was really good. Like, and that was in Dallas. So it was like, okay, that's good. So that got the crowd pretty hype right away. And then in the last minute of the first period, Thomas Harley had one of the flukiest goals you'll ever see in your life.
Oh, is that the bounce up over the back one?
Yeah, it like bounced straight up in the air and then just kind of fell directly behind Blackwood's back and like trickled down his back into the goal.
Yeah, he started like backing up to like, but it was...
to like seal it off, but it was like already too late.
Yeah.
And it just went right back down.
Yep.
So completely bonkers.
Definitely a lot of fluky goals in the series overall for them.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
For both sides, really.
Yeah, right.
I mean, the Avs had one, I think, I don't know, one of the games before where it went in off of an Avalanche player's skate. That was, I think, Game 1. So
that was the one you were saying the Avalanche announcers were saying that it was like such a skill shot, or the national guys were saying, what a skill shot.
Yeah, and I think it was the Avalanche broadcasters. Like, look at that skill, and it's like it literally bounced off of his skate while he was falling.
He did not draw it up that way.
No, it was not a thing that happened. So just over a minute into the second period, Mikko Rantanen scooped up a loose puck, and he and Rope took off down the ice. He passed it over to Rope, and then Rope passed it back to him just in time for him to feed it into the net. And we were up 3-0.
Yeah.
And we were like, are we back? Let's not say anything.
Yeah, nobody.
We don't want them to hear us and get afraid.
Nobody stand up. Nobody get excited.
No, they get nervous. We've
been around these parts before.
we can't perceive them. They'll get nervous. And then with about 8 minutes to go in the second, the Avs got on the board. And then 2 minutes later, they did it again. And suddenly we were only up 3-2.
Yeah.
So we were right not to celebrate.
Yeah. Everyone's like, classic Stars.
Classic Stars. But then the Stars surprised us and they quickly rebuilt their lead. We had a goal from Wyatt, and then we had one that was Petrovic, and then Mush redirected it in. And then there were endless debates about who put it in. The NHL couldn't decide, but eventually it was credited to Mush.
Okay.
So, and yeah, the Avs put in their best effort in the third period to catch up, but the only other goal would be an empty netter from Rope Hintz. So yeah, we won Game 5.
Cool.
We were like, okay, we're still in it.
We're still in it.
So
nobody get ahead of yourself.
Nobody get ahead of yourself. But we are still, in fact, in it.
Yeah.
I did say going into that one, I felt like it was a must win. I said, if we win this one, I'm not saying we'll win the series, but if we lose this one, I think we do lose the series.
Right.
So
I think that's a fairly balanced opinion.
Right. Yeah.
For
pretty pessimistic.
Prediction. Yeah.
In general, really.
But like balance based on history and knowledge.
Yeah. And just, bad feeling.
And bad vibes.
And bad vibes. So Game 6 was in Denver. I really wanted to go. I was like, I'm an hour and a half away. I could just do it. But I just had a crazy work week schedule, and it just, I'm too old and rickety to do that. I know my limits.
It's
a school night.
It's a school night. Yeah. You got 3 hours of driving. The game's late. the parking lot's stupid there.
And back-to-back meetings starting at 8 a.m. the next day. Yeah. It's just, I'm too elderly for that.
Yeah, wasn't going to work.
So I stayed home, and I'm glad that I did. We didn't do so well. We lost that one 7-4. They had us just playing their game, and we don't have the stamina to play their game.
No, right.
It was not good. There was some good stuff about that game, and that's that our top line, which I've been calling the finish line, started looking really solid. Mm-hmm. They're the finish line because they're literally all finished.
Yeah. The finish line.
It's so easy.
So easy.
So first, Rope had a goal that was assisted by Wyatt and Mikko. And then Granlund had a goal assisted by Rope and Mikko. And then Rope had another goal assisted by Mikko. And then Mikko had a goal assisted by Cece and Rope. So just the vast majority of the points were by Finns.
Yep.
It was more Finns. It wasn't more wins, but they were looking good and they were clicking. And it made me feel like, okay, maybe next game we still have a chance.
Sure.
But probably not, but maybe.
Probably not, but maybe. Let's not get ahead of ourselves.
One period at a time.
One period at a time.
Pucks in the net.
Yeah.
I turned into a hockey guy.
Yeah, exactly.
It was crazy.
Yep.
So last night's game 7.
Yeah.
It was some of the most nervous I've ever been.
Yeah. I went into last night realizing that it was very possibly our last Dallas Stars game of the year.
Yeah, it was not good. I was very anxious.
Yeah.
I was like, what are we going to talk about on the podcast? Like just other teams? Like, fine, I guess. But like, what about my little green guys? Like, I like my little green idiots.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Nope. I was certainly prepared for that being it and really just hunkered down from that standpoint at the start of the game. You
were just ready to pick up the pieces when I fell apart, probably.
I was like, I'm on
Kate watch.
So I've got responsibilities after this game goes the wrong way.
Yeah, no, this is going to be a big deal for you. You're going to have to like be in charge of my emotional well-being.
Right.
That's not like your strong suit.
No.
Yeah, we don't do feelings around here. That's terrible. So first period, get a couple minutes in, and Jamie Benn decides that like really the best way to start this game is to cross-check Val Nichushkin in the face.
Yeah.
Hard enough to draw blood, so we have to kill off a double minor.
Yeah.
And like, listen, I too would like to cross-check Nichushkin in the face, but you cannot do that during a game 7.
No.
I think that's literally what I said. I was like, you can't do that during a game 7.
You certainly can't, because it was definitely just a cross-check to the face.
Yeah. It was not even like, at first it was like, oh, a high stick. And it was like, oh, that's bad. That's careless. No, they played it back. It was a cross-check to the face.
Yeah.
We're lucky it was not a worse penalty call.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like a 5-minute major or something.
Yep, for sure.
Oh my God. Jamie, I love you, but why are you such an idiot? Like, it was so stupid. Like, it wasn't like, oops, I fell on top of Mark Stone bad, but it was real bad. Yeah.
It was certainly not the way to start the game. And I was like, oh boy, here we go.
It did give us the opportunity to show how great our penalty kill is, because they did fantastic, and we had some really awesome saves from Jake. So we did manage to make it through that unscathed.
And that got the fans into it.
Yeah, it absolutely did.
Yep.
So that was the first period.
That's it.
I mean, that was like the big thing in the first period, but it was scoreless.
It was scoreless. Yeah, no, they both seemed fairly evenly matched.
Yeah, it was, it was kind of low scoring on both ends. I think they had 5 shots on goal and we had 4 shots on goal in the first. Mm-hmm. And they were pressing really hard, but we were doing a good job kind of keeping it at the boards.
Yeah, and they
really smothering them with our defense.
Right, but they were pressing real hard, but still being smart defensively, which I feel like they sometimes aren't. They're like a little too aggressive, and it's like, whoops, and then Dallas is good off the rush, and then that's not great for them. So it felt like they moderated themselves, and that worked out okay. Yeah. They were holding their structure and defensively, it seemed like, to me, because I'm that kind of smart.
You're half a hockey fan. You know what you're talking about. Well, halfway through the second period, Rope got tripped and slid across the ice on his ass, looking very aggrieved.
Yeah, he was like spinning on a teacup when he went.
No, that was the second time.
That was the second time?
This first one, he goes down and he slides all the way across like half of the ice, just looking so miffed. And then he kind of does that thing where he rolls over into his stomach and kind of lounges around looking all pouty and then pushes himself up to his feet like, this is so inconvenient that I have to stand up right now.
He's like, I was standing up.
I know, I was already standing up and then you made me lay down and now I am cold and I am wet and I have to make myself stand up again. This is very rude and inconsiderate of the rope.
Yep.
So we were going on the power play.
Yay.
Great, we said. I'm pretty sure this is the point where I said, all right, Steve Spot, time to earn your paycheck.
Yeah.
And I will say that there was a goal scored on this power play.
But Steve Spot did not earn his paycheck.
The problem was it was the Avalanche scoring a goal on us.
Yeah.
At which point I was like, you cannot let the other team score shorthanded in a game 7.
You can't do that.
You can't do that.
No.
Which is the name of my favorite hockey podcast that's not this podcast.
Okay.
So shout out to them. Anyway, so it was really important to start the third period strong because we were down 2-0 at the end of the second.
Yeah, down 2-0. Yeah, that was the O'Connor, right? They got that breakaway. And he's fast and you can't let him have a breakaway.
I can't even remember. I was just too upset about everything.
Yeah, no, it was O'Connor with speed, not McKinnon with speed.
Right. That would be coming later.
Yeah.
So yeah, third period, really important for us to come out and...
Super important.
Super important. We're down 2-0. We need to...
2-0 third period. Super critical.
Yeah. Or is it 2-0 or 1-0? It's 1-0.
Oh, it's 1-0? Who knows?
Yes, it's 1-0 here.
Okay.
So it's really important for us to come out and tie up the game and...
Yeah.
And, really make ourselves be seen.
Yeah.
So about 20 seconds into the third period, Jamie Benn decides to commit another penalty.
Yeah.
Which was definitely another penalty too.
Definitely a penalty.
Like not a phantom penalty that I'll admit it when it's a real penalty and it was a real penalty.
Yeah, of course.
So on the delayed penalty, they pull Blackwood. They get a 6-man out on the ice. That man is Nathan MacKinnon, who jumps
fresh off the bench,
jumps off the bench, skates in. Nobody sees him, and he picks up the puck and goes right up and scores a goal.
It was a nice goal.
It was a really nice goal.
Yeah.
I would have been delighted if I was an Avs fan.
Yeah.
And that took the score to 2-0, just like 20 seconds into the third period, maybe 30 seconds at that point. But yeah, that really sucked.
Yeah, that was not in the column where we were like, oh boy, things are going to turn around. That was like, oh no, it's going to go kind of how we thought it was going to go.
Like it was on my bingo card, but it wasn't on my good bingo card.
Right.
Like it was on my worst case scenario bingo card.
Which is the card you started the game with.
Yes. So I wasn't feeling great about that. Again, at that point, though, I hate to say it, but I was really following the Pete DeBoer method of not being too high or too low.
Yeah.
I was really chill for the most part. I was internally freaking out, but I was just like, whatever's going to happen is going to happen, and I have no control over it. Like all the Buddha shit you tell me all the time. So
exactly.
Thanks for that, I guess.
Things just happen.
Yeah. No.
But yeah, you went limp, car crash style.
I did, exactly. You just got to go limp.
Yep.
So 8 minutes into the third period, Mikko Rantanen is like, fuck this. I'm going to do it myself. He gets into the zone really cleanly. He goes east to west, loses a couple of defenders, and just sinks a goal all by his damn self.
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh, we got a little life now.
Yeah, 2-1 is a much different score.
Yeah, 2-1 with 12 minutes left to go.
Yeah.
Like, okay, we can do something with that. Like, that's the thing. We cannot let them have any more momentum, though. So we definitely shouldn't commit any more penalties.
Definitely not.
So Matt Duchene definitely shouldn't slash somebody in the back of the heels and take them down to the ice.
Yeah.
Oh, whoops. Matt Duchene did that.
Yeah.
And we were back on penalty kill.
Right.
So that happened. We were on the penalty kill. Cale Makar has a great look. He goes to take the shot. His motherfucking stick breaks.
Yeah. Snap.
We got so lucky.
Yeah, for sure.
Because it looked like it could be a really good one. I mean, he's been missing lots of shots, but like that could have been the one.
Yeah, it was like right in the center.
It was right in the center.
Yep.
His stick breaks. That turns into Dallas going to the other end. And Cale has to get to the other end. And even without a stick, he manages to trip Roope Hintz. This is the one where he, again, falls on his ass, spins around like he's on the spinning teacup ride, and slides directly into the goal. And he's like, why am I in here? I am not a puck. I am Roope Hintz.
Why would they do this?
Why would they put me in a net? I deserve to be on a throne. So then we're going to do 4-on-4, and we do 4-on-4 for a little bit, and nothing happens. And then we get a little time on the power play, and guess what happens?
Steve Spot.
Steve Spott earns his fucking paycheck for the first time. And it's Mikko Rantanen. He once again makes a really clean, fast entry into the zone, which is like the thing that we have needed and the thing he is supposed to be really good at. And he does it. It's like him and like 3 Avalanche defenders. And he goes in and he goes around like behind the net. And as he's falling, he banks the puck in off of the skate of Sam Girard into the net.
Yeah.
It was stupid.
It was stupid.
It was so stupid.
So stupid.
It was amazing.
Way stupid. Amazing. It was absolutely amazing.
It was so good.
Yeah.
I loved it.
Yeah. Everybody loved it.
Everybody loved it. It was so good.
Avs fans loved it.
They did not love it.
Some of them did.
And probably even not the pro Mikko ones loved that yet in the midst.
Well, they didn't love it yet.
No.
Now they're like, oh yeah, I loved that.
No, I just still don't think they are. I don't know if it works that way. But no, all of a sudden the game's tied up and things are maybe looking a little bit better.
Yeah, there's still plenty of time.
There's still plenty of time. So, but anything can happen. Still not getting too high.
No.
2 minutes later, Jack Drury of the Avalanche is called for holding, and he is outraged.
Yes.
He's giving a performance that is so convincing, like way more convincing than anything I've seen come out of the Mason Marchment School for Dramatic Arts. Mm-hmm. He is like really like, how could you say that about me? I would never hold somebody. They show the replay. He literally like puts Tyler Seguin in like a judo hold and flings him to the ice.
Yeah. Yeah, I think, yeah.
It was the holiest hold I've ever seen in my life.
It was the holiest hold.
It was so holy.
Yep.
So we were going to go back on the power play. Once again, we're like, Steve Spott, you better fucking show up, dude. Right. And
yeah, after the first one, he's like, all right, cool, I did it. I'm going to go sit down.
Yeah, he's like, all right, I'm good now. I earned my paycheck. We're like, no, you got to keep earning your paycheck, bitch. So we went on the power play and we had one of our best looking power plays all season. Mikko got the puck over to Duchesne and he found Wyatt, and Wyatt put it in precisely where he needed to off of a bad angle shot, and it put the Stars up 3-2.
Yeah.
I watched the highlights this morning synced to the Josh and Razor radio call. Josh said, Mr. Game 7 does it again about Wyatt. And then Razor said that in Game 7's Wyatt is as lethal as a nutmeg injection. So
okay, what's that mean?
Too much nutmeg can be lethal.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Oh, I get it.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's it.
Oh, yeah.
Just, obscure ways to murder people, old-fashioned ways to murder people.
Old-fashioned ways to murder people. All right.
So, again, though, I know enough about the Dallas Stars to know there's absolutely no reason to get excited when we're up only 1 goal with 4 minutes left in the game.
Yeah, because, like, the Avalanche are going to get, like, hyped up over that, and then McKinnon's going to come out and just do McKinnon shit.
Or Landeskog is going to be like, oh, hey, I'm the motherfucking captain, and he came back, and I'm going to save everybody.
It's like, oh, wait, my storyline starts now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, there's so much stuff going on.
Not too high, not too low.
Not too high, not too low. The Avs put everything they can into it. They pull Blackwood. They have the extra attacker on ice.
Yeah, them with 6 skaters is not ideal.
It's very scary. Like, they're good with 5 skaters, and then you put a 6 skater on your six skater on, and you're like, Jesus Christ! Like, it's really scary. So with 15 seconds left, Otter gloved the puck down with like a very confident save, and that gave us another face-off. And on the subsequent face-off, the Avs won the puck, but Mikko Rantanen poked it away. The puck got it over to Esa Lindell, who poked it ahead to Tyler Seguin, who flipped it up ahead while he was falling down. And who would get it but Mikko Rantanen, as he was skating ahead, would haul ass and get up there and put it in the empty net to score a hat trick against the Colorado Avalanche right before the clock ran out.
In Game 7.
In Game 7.
In the third period.
In the third period.
It's just unbelievable.
It's literally, if you write this script and you are shopping it around, everyone's like, listen, I love an inspirational sports movie, but like, this is just too on the nose.
This has never happened in the history.
This has literally never happened in the history of the NHL.
So you can't write it like that.
You can't do that. No. You simply cannot.
Yep.
But he did it.
Yeah.
He motherfucking did that.
Yeah.
He won the divorce.
He oh God, he won the divorce. He's my God, what a game.
What a game. Like, one of the best games of hockey I've ever seen.
It's the best game of hockey I've ever seen.
Yeah. No.
It was, after it all happened, or as it was happening, it was very clear that this was an historic, look at me using an historic game. Like, that was some legendary fucking shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it was crazy. Like, you and I were both just kind of mind boggled, I think. Like,
yeah.
I was like, did you see that? And you're like, I don't know, did I?
Yeah.
That's why I had to check my phone this morning to make sure that I remembered that it happened and that I didn't dream it, because it just seemed too good to be true.
Yeah. No, it's my goodness. Like, you know,
the scriptwriters showed up and showed out for the Dallas Stars last night.
Yeah. It was I think Emily said this, and then Pete also said this, that he carried the team on his back, and he did. He like picked them up. He's like, no, we're going to win this one.
Razor also said that in his radio call.
Really?
Yeah. No, it was some real, whatever that movie is with Andrew Garfield, where he's the guy in war who's like the conscientious objector, and then he like saves everybody.
The Notebook?
No. Some kind of a ridge. I've told you about it.
Oh, Hacksaw Ridge?
No.
Oh,
yeah, that's the one. Maybe.
Okay.
I don't know. Anyway, it's a ridge, and he saves a lot of people. That's
you told me
for hockey.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. No, it was literally crazy. I've never seen anything like it before in my life.
No.
And it's like the whole narrative, all playoffs, is like, where's Mikko Rantanen? He hasn't showed up. Like, why is anybody paying him these big bucks? Like, was he only good because Nate McKinnon was good?
Yeah.
And he was like, bet? Like,
right. No, Nate McKinnon was only good because of Mikko Rantanen.
That's not true.
No,
they're both good.
Yeah.
It's just like he just needed time to like find it, and then it's like he remembered who the fuck he was.
Yeah.
And he was like, "Oh, not today, bitches." Like,
no, unbelievable.
No, he's having his hot girl summer. Like,
yeah,
he is.
Mikko Rantanen is Brat.
He is Brat. He fully is. It's like I don't know. This is not very like compelling podcasting, probably, because I'm speechless because it was so fucking good.
No, everybody knows it.
Everybody knows it.
And I think I said this last night. I was like, regardless of what happened, like even if they get swept in 4, like that game, like is still the series in that game are absolutely out of control. Amazing now.
It's also funny seeing how dramatically different the online narrative is just overnight. Like
totally changed.
All of the Mikko's a McKinnon merchant people have shut the fuck up, and everyone's like, I loved Mikko so much and it was never his fault. And
yeah.
You know, it's like, I was just being quiet. I was just drowned out by those loud idiots. But now you can hear me because the loud idiots have shut up. It's like, I guess so. Like, yeah, you really can hear the normal people once the loud idiots like don't have anything to say.
Right.
Oh, man. I love it when the loud idiots shut up for a minute. It's great.
Yeah. I feel like Colorado's in shambles now. I feel like home office, like whoever did whoever did Mikko dirty, and that is literally what happened. It's very clear they did him dirty, and the people that are like, oh no, it was me, they can really shut up at this point.
Absolutely. I'm sorry. I think that, you know, people want to believe that like, oh, he was too greedy and that's why it happened. Yeah. I'm sorry. He's clearly still torn up emotionally about leaving the Avs. He was clearly blindsided.
Yeah.
He clearly was very hurt in the breakup. Like
very, very clearly.
He was ghosted.
Yeah. And it's very clear that like he was able to finally get to the team whenever they like did that last couple games or whatever, and like hang out with his buddies who are his literal buddies.
Yeah. His friends.
And be like, yo, they did me dirty. And you could just see it in the handshake line too. Like
there is not a single bad feeling with him and anybody on the team.
No.
Like all of the bad blood is like management now.
Yep.
And I don't think it's like Mikko in management. I think some of it might be Avs players in management. Like,
yeah, no, I think next season will be very interesting. I don't know. They seem broken now, and who knows if that turns out to be true or not. But if anybody's going to turn that into fuel, it'll be Nate McKinnon. But it also it can be so devastating too. So yeah,
I do feel legitimately bad for them because like if I was on the other side of this, I would be heartbroken. Yeah, and I have empathy. So
right. Yeah,
I understand they're going through it. I feel bad for fans. I feel bad for the team.
Yeah.
I'm like, as much as I am thrilled for the Stars and I love seeing us actually get the storyline, the good edit for once and not be the villain in the edit, like hooray. Like, God, that sucks for them.
Yeah. Well, McKinnon and Landeskog's like post game, McKinnon like talked for like 26 seconds.
Yeah.
Right? He was just like blown away. Landeskog was as well.
I think McKinnon said it was the worst loss of his career.
Right.
Yeah.
To lose to his buddy that they traded away, who didn't want to go and he didn't want his buddy to go.
Yeah. No, it's terrible.
Unbelievable. And, you know, the amount of millions that they've lost out on by not progressing to the next round.
Yeah.
Like there's like a financial implication to this possibly being because Rantanen was traded.
Yeah, but like with the players, at least I don't even think they care about the financial.
No, I'm just talking. No, not.
Oh, but just like from the management
from the GM level.
I mean, there is from a player perspective too, because there are like bonuses and things.
Yeah,
no, at the end of the day, the players just care about the trophy. But yeah, no, the management fucked themselves over too. So.
Yeah, there's going to be a meeting on Monday. That's for sure.
Yep. Nope. Karma's tasty.
I'd love to be a fly on the wall in that meeting.
Same here.
Yeah.
I just think it's really funny that after, you know, procrastinating until the last possible second, the Stars played one of the most legendary hockey games of all time.
Yeah.
And proved that they truly are ADHD icons, like I've been saying.
They showed up.
They did.
At the end.
Right at the end and put on a perfect project.
They're like, oh, exactly.
They're like, look at this. I made a diorama, bitches. So some Game 7 fun facts. Mikko is the first NHL player to score a hat trick in a third period in a Game 7.
Yep.
Crazy.
Yep.
Peter DeBoer is now 9-0 in his past 9 Game 7s. He now has the record for most Game 7 wins by a head coach or manager in the history of North American sports.
Oh, geez. It's bigger than the NHL.
This includes the NHL, NBA, and MLB.
Wow.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Peter DeBoer.
Peter DeBoer. I guess being boring gets you places.
I mean, he's been preaching that
he sure
for a long time.
Wyatt has been in 3 Game 7s now and has scored in every single one. And 2 of them were game-winning goals, including last night's. You had a great story for me about how Mikko opened the season.
Yeah, I guess he opened the season with a hat trick. It might have been the second game.
It was
the first game?
It was the first game. I went and looked.
Yeah, so he opened the season with a hat trick, and he closed the season with a hat trick. Just
the irony.
Yeah.
Is...
And he opened the season for Colorado, and he closed the season for... Like, that man, Jim Nill, 5D chess, brilliant.
Just some fun numerology, too. Mikko is playing on 3 different lines throughout the third period.
Okay.
He scored 3 goals in the third period. His third goal was scored with 3 seconds left in the third period. So all of this sort of power of 3 stuff feels like some kind of witchcraft.
Numerology, yeah.
No, it feels like, you know, in witchcraft, it's like the rule of 3s. Like whatever energy you put out there comes back upon you threefold.
Oh, okay.
So this felt like the karma was coming back and being like, let's reward this bitch.
Yeah.
So, it's great.
Yeah, that is witchy. Yeah. I guess I don't know much about witches. I used to roll with some, but... I
mean, my knowledge of witchcraft pretty much exclusively comes from the movie The Craft. So.
Yeah, no, I just hung out with
goth chicks.
Well, goth chicks too, but just a generational family of like, pretty sure you guys are all witches.
Oh yeah, that too. That'll do it.
Yep.
The handshake line was really bittersweet.
Oh my God.
A lot of our guys had some long hugs with Wedgwood, which it's always nice to see him.
Yeah.
Mikko had some lingering hugs with former teammates, but the most intense were Nate McKinnon and then Gabe Landeskog. Like, you could tell they were like talking and like, maybe some crying going on. It was like hard to watch.
Yeah.
Mikko had a few post-game interviews, one on the bench with Emily Kaplan and then one at a media table. Emily asked about the handshake line and he said it was emotional. He said they were brothers and he still loves every one of them. In this series, they were his enemies on the ice, but they're his dear friends off the ice. And yeah, it was emotional and he loved every one of them.
Yeah.
And then he basically said he wants to be the piece that pushes Dallas even further than they've been going. So yeah, he wants to be that difference maker in Dallas.
Yeah.
And then in the sort of the fuller press conference, a reporter asked him if he would use the word revenge to describe his performance. And he was like, no, of course not. I guess I would just like say, and then he just kind of like talked around it a lot. And like, it was pretty clear that he was like, this was a big fuck you, but like not really, but kind of.
Yeah, that was an epic press conference. He was very clear. I feel like I don't know if everybody could like read between the lines of like the words he was using, but it was very clear what the situation was. And I don't know. He
kept talking about like how much belief the Stars had, and it just felt like he was saying that the Avs lost belief in him.
Yeah,
and he has lost belief in them as a result, obviously.
Yeah.
And it's just nice to be in a place where he's believed in. And he talked about how welcoming the Stars organization was. He's like, right down to the massage therapist. Like, everybody makes me feel at home.
Yep.
So yeah, no, he's had his glow up.
He certainly has. Yeah. Because I was ready to wait for him till next year.
No, last night you said you were on the Mikko train.
Yeah, no, that clinched it. I was like, okay, that's the guy. That he is now the face of the Dallas Stars.
Yeah, I think he might be.
You can get rid of that Wyatt Johnston bumper and just put Mikko.
Oh, I thought you were like, get rid of that Wyatt Johnston. And I was like, I will fuck you up.
No. When like when they're doing the like start of the game, like, or their little like promo thing, it's going to be Mikko next year. And I feel like it should be because he can handle himself.
He's got charisma.
Yep.
Somebody was saying, I think it's like PK Subban after the game was saying that he's handled himself with so much class after all of the trade stuff and has just not really been talking shit and just trying to like clarify and get his side out, but has been very sort of reserved in how he's been saying things and has been just very cool and awesome. Razor said that it was like he showed up to the divorce with his hot new girlfriend. His hot new girlfriend being the Dallas Stars in this case.
Yep.
So it was wild.
Yeah.
He also gave a lot of credit to the crowd for helping the team get back into it. Like when he scored his goal, he said that got the crowd back into it and that fed the team. So
yeah, they were saying the crowd kind of gone silent there when it was 2-0, right?
Yeah, but he was like, that's on us. Like, the crowd was flat because of us.
Yep.
And like, yeah, he was still like, even though we won, here's where we were bad. And like, I don't know, he's great. I'm happy.
Yeah.
He's fantastic.
Yeah, I'm glad I could get on the Mikko train before next season. So
yeah, me too.
I don't have any expectations still going forward for the Stars at all.
No, absolutely not. And I never will because they're the Dallas Stars and they're catastrophes. And that's why I love them.
Yeah.
They are like me. They just do not ever have their shit together. You never know what you're going to get. And that's why I like them because, they make me feel less bad about what a disaster I am. Like, I'm not a professional hockey team. I'm just a girl.
You're just a girl.
Yep.
In the world.
That's all that I'll let me be. That's all my ADHD will let me be. Anyway, yeah, it was great. It was the perfect cap to the round one. We are going into round two. We will know tonight who we're facing. It will be Winnipeg or St. Louis.
You're hoping for Winnipeg.
I am not sure who I'm hoping for.
Well, every time we watch the Blues, you're like, I've said it this entire season. Those guys are dangerous.
I have said that.
or for the second half of the season.
I am nervous about that. I will say they are a lot better at home than they are on the road. And we do have home ice advantage over them. So
okay. Dallas is also better at home.
Dallas is also very good at home.
So
we do also have some baggage where they beat us in a series one time. And it would maybe be the next part of our storyline could maybe be like getting our revenge on them.
Right.
If revenge is our storyline, Mikko's had his revenge. Now maybe we're getting our revenge on the Blues.
Yeah. So like these NHL story writers are not writing like a television show or like a mini series. Like they're writing a full feature length movie. Possibly.
Yeah. No, it's this is just the first story beat going on. We've got more stuff to go.
Yeah.
Winnipeg, on the other hand, like Connor Hellebuck flaming out, it's like a tempting proposition, but like that would give him a chance if he pulls the series out, then maybe he can have his redemption story and get it back together.
Right.
So
who knows?
I don't know. I really don't know.
And I feel like Hellebuck going up against Ottinger is like trouble.
Because they're the Team US goalies.
Right.
And Hellebuck started over him in 4 Nations and is probably ahead of him in the things.
And I feel like...
But then is that Ottinger's revenge story over not being believed in over Hellebuck?
No, I just feel like when two good goalies are going up against each other that they raise their game or something.
Yeah.
Which could be bad.
But if Hellebuck's confidence is shaken and Otter is doing the best he's done all season, cause we've got playoff Otter, which is different than regular season Otter.
Yeah, he finally...
And playoff Hellebuck is different than regular season Hellebuck, but in the other direction.
Right.
So honestly, I don't know. Like it's a coin flip for me. There are advantages and disadvantages to both of them.
Yeah.
I think St. Louis has got mojo going right now.
They got something going on.
They got that voodoo doll.
Yeah. They look really good.
They do.
Whatever it is that they do, I don't know what it is, but they seem to like move around a lot, and it looks like that's probably a good plan.
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll see. We'll know tonight what that is.
Yeah.
And then we also can talk about the next matchup, which is Oilers versus Vegas.
Oh God, so boring. I guess I hope the Edmontons win that.
I would like the Edmontons to win that too.
We're very clearly not a Vegas household.
We're not a Vegas household, so.
And even though, Eichel is a millennial like us.
Yes, apparently.
or Gen X, sorry. No. He's a Gen Z.
He's a borderline.
Yeah.
Anyway. No, I'm never going to want Vegas to win, so Edmonton, we'll take Edmonton, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. And I think they can take Edmonton. I don't think Edmonton's going to dig in this year.
They're not going to dig the fuck in?
I don't think so.
All right.
How many times can you dig the fuck in?
Not last year. They didn't do it last year. Maybe they'll do it this year.
Oh, that's a good point.
Yeah, but I don't know.
I don't know. Yeah,
it's literally impossible to predict. Like when the screenwriters are doing their thing, like you don't know what's going to happen.
No, we certainly didn't know what was going to happen last night.
Yeah. So, well, it's getting exciting now, isn't it?
Last night was super exciting.
It really was.
Best game of hockey I've ever seen, and I think it'll be dissected for generations.
I think so too.
Yeah.
And thanks, scriptwriters. You really you did a good one this time.
Made this podcast all worth it.
You absolutely did. No, it was.
We've got the whole story of the Stars this season up to this fantastic game.
Yeah. Now, let's keep it going. I like it. Good job. No notes. I feel like I've been scribbling in red ink all season on the Dallas Stars scripts. Yeah. And I'm no notes this time.
No notes.
This is great. Love where the story's going. Let's keep up this momentum. I can't wait to see what happens next.
Yeah.
Fantastic. I'm in.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, that's going to be the end of regulation for this week's episode of Ice is Slippery. You can find us on Tumblr, Blue Sky, TikTok, and Instagram at IceIsSlipperyPod. You can also email us at iceisslipperypod@gmail.com, where we would love to get suggestions for games and hear your hockey hot takes. Until next week, stay out of the penalty box.